Welcome back. The podcast is back. The kids are all back to school. And can you feel the energy of organizing, recalibrating, getting back into routines? The first thing I wanted to share with you is a heartfelt thank you. Thank you for continuing to listen to the podcast, even when it was on summer break. So I didn't check all summer, but I checked on September 1st just to see if there had been any downloads or plays of the podcast from June, July, and August while we were off. And there were over 1,500 plays that where I host the podcast, showed me. I was floored. I have more thoughts on that. It's going to be probably coming in a separate episode and beyond, hint, hint. But for now, I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for continuing to listen. I do have a couple of quick announcements. Some of them I'm going to save for the end. So the first one is on the birth worker retreats. If you're planning to come to the birth worker retreat, know that one, there's now a payment plan option. When you go to the checkout page, there's a link in the show notes, and you go to checkout, you can pay with Klarna, and Klarna offers you a payment plan. Announcement number 2 related to the birth worker retreat, we now have a Black birth worker scholarship application. Announcement number 3 for the birth worker retreat is we currently have 25 people booked and ready to go. Tickets are still available. January, Clearwater, let's proceed. I have other announcements, but I was debating if I wanted to share with you an announcement style or if I wanted to turn into a lesson. And I decided, in usual Nicole fashion, to share announcements with you and share information with you through a lesson that I think will be applicable to you in your business. So in my personal life, over the last 18 months, I've had something going on that I have not shared publicly, and I'm not going to go into great detail about it because I don't think it's really beneficial. But what I will say is there have been people who came into my life who have brought something to the light and presented opportunities for me to heal something, right? We are a match for certain kinds of experiences in all different areas of life, right? Business, personal, relationships. And there was somebody who came into my life in a business capacity that was in my life for quite a while. And about 18 months ago, there was something that came up that presented me this opportunity to look more closely at this pattern that was recurring and playing in my life. That's how I'll say that. And this one thing in particular, I have been unpacking and processing for the last 18 months. I've been processing layer after layer of it for a year and a half. And I'm finally at a point right now where I feel like there are pieces of it that could be really helpful for you. And that's where I want to share from. So, what happens to a relationship when there's no longer an active exchange of money? In some instances, it can be a little bit more transactional, and that's understood, right? So let's say you purchase a book from somebody and it's $20. You buy a book, you read the book, and then not a whole lot usually happens after that, unless you go on to work with them in some other capacity or if they have a book club. But usually something like that is a little bit more transactional, and there's not a whole lot that we expect to continue after that type of exchange. But in other cases, particularly in heart-centered work, right? The heart-centered services that many of us, and if you're listening to this, probably you too, are offering, it's not uncommon to develop a relationship with your clients or develop a relationship with your coach, your mentor, your doula, your trainer, your yoga instructor. And so when you're no longer in a paid container with them, so your contract is up. Let's say if you hired a doula and you have the baby, the contract is up, right? Or if you hire a personal trainer and you have a certain number of sessions and then the sessions end and the contract is up, or you are under contract with a mentor or some other kind of coach and the contract is up, then what? Can you remain friends? Can you be acquaintances? We have a lot of conditioning on this based on old and dated business beliefs. Some of the old school mentality and conditioning that many of us picked up was that no, you cannot be friends with people who are clients or who were clients because it's not professional. So let me get this straight. We are supposed to just drop people cold turkey and move on with our lives, acting like we never really cared for these very real human beings, who some of which we've been cheering on and been in their corner and been in a very personal capacity with them for months or years. I don't like that. And as I mentioned earlier, I've had opportunities that have come up in my life around this topic. and presented an opportunity for me to either shift that shit or heal it or allow it to continue. I chose to shift. I chose to heal. I chose to go deep on it. And it's taken me a while. It's taken a long time to go through this process. But from this place of where I've healed a lot of it and embodied what I choose to believe is that yes, you can be friends with people who were former clients or people who were former mentors or people who you've worked with or paid or they've paid you. And from this place of embodying that for myself, I was able to decide what kind of relationships that I want to have. And I want to continue cheering you on. I want to say hi and I want to comment on your stuff when I see it in my feed. I can stop caring, even if it's not the same mentor client dynamic. I may show up as a friend versus who you knew me as your mentor. And that's really tricky for me to not be a mentor. But I don't believe in dropping real human beings from our lives just because they're not actively paying us. So, how do you do this in a way that honors the people who are currently paying you for mentorship or whatever services you're providing and still maintain friendships? It's doable. It might take a little bit of trial and lesson and seeing what works. But when you come from a heart-centered space, I can tell you that it's possible. And I have been experiencing it since I've been shifting this for myself. This is a really great example of what it looks like to work on healing yourself and then the impact that that can have on your business. When you heal, you create space. And when I did that, something beautiful wanted to come through. So very recently, you may have heard me talk about it a little bit on social media, and you may have gotten my email if you're a former client of mine. In the last couple of months, I had been feeling this pull, like I wanted to create something to reconnect with my people. I just didn't really know what that was going to be yet. And what came up was this alumni study group that is a free Facebook group. As of right now, it's on Facebook because it just felt easiest to get it moving. And it's for everybody who has ever purchased a course, a program, a digital download, who's ever been a client or a customer of mine and is in good financial standing, i.e., doesn't owe me money because that would feel weird. But if you owe me money and you want to be a part of it, we can settle up and you're welcome to come in with no hard feelings and no judge. I opened this space with the intention to reconnect. And what I'd like for it to be is your space to connect with me and with others and to share and to form study groups or accountability pods and to go back through the courses that you purchased as desired, to find other people who may have been in on the same courses with you or who want to go back through them together and hold each other accountable, walk through your examples, form mini masterminds, whatever feels good to you. Now, my role in that space is going to be a little bit different. I'm not going to come in and be the coach and the mentor. That is who I am. But this is more of a space for me to cheer you on from the sidelines. If you did not get an email from me and you are, in fact, a former client or you've purchased things from me, reach out to me and let me know. I sent out an email and I don't know if it got everybody. Technology doesn't always work perfectly. So let me know. Now, a tip for you in your business, if this resonates, if this feels really good to you, I invite you to try it on for yourself. Take a look at your offers, take a look at your services and your programs, and decide what kind of relationship you want to have with clients who you actually really care about after they're no longer actively paying you. What kind of ongoing relationship do you want to have? Depending on the depth of the kind of work that you do. And in my hunch is that if you're here listening to me, you probably do some pretty intimate work with people. You may want to continue this relationship, and it might not be in the same capacity as before. So contemplate what you can create for your former clients post service to stay connected with them. And as I mentioned in the beginning, now I'm going to share with you a couple of quick updates because it didn't make sense to share before I explained all of that. If you were one of the original people who bought course creation, so course creation started in 2019. If you were one of the original people who bought it all the way up until like today, gift for you. Log into the portal, you will find new modules. When you bought access to that self-paced course outside of the membership, if you bought it as a standalone course, you now have access to the updated modules. The original classics are still there. Nothing has changed from what you got before, but I've added 3 new modules and new tutorials because it felt really good to do so. My other announcement about course creation is if you have not ever purchased course creation, but you want to build digital courses, and you find value in creating impactful, heart centered courses so that you can teach a lot of people all over the world, Course Creation Made Easy is the new version. So, Course Creation Made Easy is linked in the show notes. It has all of my new material on how to create a digital course easy and efficiently. And because it's new and because I'm talking about it right now, it's on special price. It's linked in the show notes. Reach out to me if you have any questions, and I will talk to you next week.